Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to get to know yourself again. And the first question you might have is, well, what do you mean get to know yourself again? Bold of you to assume that I ever knew myself at all. And I am going to challenge that first and foremost. So let's think back to when we were kids. When you were a kid, you knew exactly who you were at pretty much any given time because you hadn't reached a point where you started to adjust your identity based on societal pressures, family pressures, cultural pressures, religious pressures, all these things that shape our personal identity and personality as we get over. When you were a child, you knew exactly who you were and you knew exactly what you wanted. When you were sad, you cried. When you were happy, you laughed. When somebody asked you what you wanted to be when you grew up, you didn't think, well, I want to have a nice responsible job where it pays me a nice pension and, it gives me enough holidays so that I can take 1 or 2 trips with the family everywhere. No, you were like, I want to be a tree. And that was who you were at the time. When we were kids, we knew ourselves. And along the way, with all of these pressures of life from society, from friends, from family, from our relationships, from culture, from religion, from politics, from all of these things, our identity and personality is shaped and warped to a point where a lot of the times we completely stop remembering who we were as people, who we are as people, who we are as men. This happens especially if you develop any kind of social anxiety, because you then start to police yourself and monitor yourself in quite a critical way in comparison to other people, and you try to shape yourself and almost form around other people and their desires and their wants and their needs, and you forget what it is that you want in life. So this video is going to be all about how to get to know yourself again. And what I want to do is share with you 5 very quick things that you can start to do to learn how to get to know yourself, basically. Now, the first thing that I'm going to encourage you to do is maybe something that you already do, which is going to be, you've got to spend more time on your own. If you spend all of your time just around people and trying to basically merge yourself into their lives rather than taking the time to figure out what you want out of life, I'm going to encourage you straight away, just start spending more time on your own. You don't have to go and build your own fortress of solitude out in the wilderness somewhere and go and meditate on a rock. You can just start by spending some time, maybe in the morning when you wake up, just go and find a quiet place and just sit down with your thoughts and start to get used to listening to yourself and what goes on in your mind. The second thing is to start to regularly check in with yourself and what you want, who you are, what things you enjoy. And I'm talking about literally asking yourselves these questions. Maybe writing it down, asking yourself, right, what is it that I want? And then writing just everything down that comes to mind. What is it that I don't want? What is it that I don't like? What goals do I want to achieve? What makes me happy? What makes me unhappy? And all of these questions can really help you to start to draw out of yourself who you once knew that you were but forgot about a very long time ago. One of the great exercises that I recommend for people is writing out lists of 100. So let's say that you write out a list of 100 things that you want to achieve in your life. The chances are pretty high that the first 30 or 40 are going to be pretty easy for you to just write out. You'll probably batter through them in a couple of minutes. The very next 30, they're going to be a struggle. You're going to have to start thinking long and hard about, what do I actually want to achieve in my life? And the final few are going to be like drawing blood from a stone, and that's where the really deep stuff is going to be. So you might find that at the beginning of the exercise, you're writing things down like, I want to own a Lamborghini, I want to own a big house, I want to make a lot of money. And once you're getting down into like the 90s, you're starting to kind of draw deeper from yourself, and you're writing down things like, I want to find a way to repair my relationship with my brother, or I just want to be the kind of person that my kids or my nieces and nephews and grandkids will look up to one day. You start to really draw from the deeper parts of your mind, and you start to understand who you truly are. The third thing is to start practicing saying no to people and start practicing disagreeing. This is something that if you are struggling with a lack of confidence, with low self-esteem, with social anxiety, that you are definitely not accustomed to saying no to other people. As I said, you tend to kind of form yourself around others and merge yourself into their lives and their needs and their wants and their desires. But what you should be doing is really asking yourself, is this something that I actually want? So let's say that you're going out to dinner with some friends and one of your friends recommends, oh, let's all go to Nando's. For anyone outside of the UK, I don't know if you have a Nando's. It's just a generic chicken restaurant. It's about as basic as it comes. And let's say that you don't like Nando's because, you know, it is generic and bland. Instead, you want to go somewhere else. Practicing saying things like, no, I don't want to go to Nando's, and then giving another suggestion of what you actually want to do instead. I'll be honest, it's really, really uncomfortable to say no and start disagreeing if you've never done it in your life, because it's going to feel confrontational and like you're just being a bit of a jerk. But this is a great way to not just get to know yourself and what you actually want, but it's also a good way of learning how to express that in an authentic way to other people so that they can get to know you better as well. So start practicing saying no to things and start practicing disagreeing with people. Start with just very, very small things that don't really matter that much, and build from there. The process of creating confidence is incremental. You just have to be a little bit more confident than you were the day before, and build and build and build and build. The fourth thing is to start keeping a journal. And with journaling, there is this habit of kind of taking it too far, where you think you've got to sit down for 15, 20, 30 minutes, an hour a day and just write down all your thoughts and feelings. Journaling can be done in as little as 1 minute a day. This is something I talked about in a previous video on habit formation, where the best way to form a habit is just to start small, to start with like 1 minute a day. And when you only give yourself 1 minute to journal, you quickly get out the most important thing that's on your mind straight away. Especially if you have a very specific question that you want to ask yourself, that you want to explore in your journal. And remember that journaling is basically like taking a mental dump. It isn't meant to be pretty, it's just meant to get the stuff out of your mind so that you can start to deal with it in a more effective way. And the fifth thing is to never stop the process of learning more about yourself. There is always more about you to know, and there's going to be some times where you learn something about yourself that's going to shock you. You're going to be like, wow, I had no idea that that was in there. And who you are as a person can change over time. So this process of never stopping learning about yourself can be an extremely effective method of self-improvement. So I would encourage you to just keep at this, keep learning more about yourself day after day after day, and going after what you want in life and being authentic with your life, because that is how you get to know yourself and that is how you build confidence. So I hope you have found this video useful. That's all I've got for today. If you found this video useful, make sure to leave a like on the video and let me know what your thoughts and questions are in the comment section down below, and I'll make sure to answer every single comment as soon as I possibly can. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy this kind of content, then make sure that you subscribe to the channel as well. I am at the moment putting out 5 videos a week every single Monday to Friday, and that is going to be going up to daily uploads in about a week or so. So if this is the kind of content that you're interested in, if you want to learn more about creating a life of confidence and more about general life advice, then make sure that you are subscribed, because that's what this channel is all about. But otherwise, thank you very much for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos here on this channel very soon.